Hey guys, remember Supergirl, Season 2, Episode 11, The Martian Chronicles, and I was definitely looking forward to this episode. I really did enjoy last week's episode, as you guys know. Despite all the Kara, Mon-El drama, I definitely was looking forward to this episode, and I really enjoyed this episode overall. This was a nice change of pace from some of the other episodes we've had. It focused a lot more on John and Mehcad, which I really did like, because I think it has been definitely one of the stronger arcs of the season. I think every arc has been somewhat strong. There really hasn't been a low point in the show. Well, Kara and Mon-El isn't really the highest of points, but definitely has been one of the more compelling storylines, and almost the entire episode focused on it. The Kara and Mon-El really did take a backseat here. Pretty much everything took a backseat, and I really dug this episode overall. I really did enjoy it. I thought that it was a bit rushed, but overall I definitely did enjoy it. So let's just get into this episode, because I definitely do want to talk about it. So we start off with Kara. She's walking into Alien Bar to talk to Mon-El, and she explains to him that she doesn't think they're a great match, in part because she's busy juggling super heroics in her career. And she also awkwardly states that she wouldn't date someone like him, which I like that she straight up told him, look, I don't like you in that way. I don't think that we have a future together. And yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with Kara. These two just don't have a future here. I know there are people that ship Kara and Mon-El together. I can understand it. Like I said, the two of them have very good chemistry, and I can completely understand that. I just don't see their chemistry as a couple. I see them as friends, and I see them as siblings. I don't see them as a couple. And maybe that's just me, but, you know, maybe I'm in the minority, but I personally would not like to see him date. I just don't really think it would make sense, and that caused Mon-El to walk away right as Alex approaches her. Alex also drops some bad news on Kara that Maggie wants to talk to Alex to talk her to her first concert as a couple instead of attending Kara's Earth birthday, which obviously is a pretty big deal, but unfortunately Alex does have to bail on her. And Kara actually encourages Alex to go, and that makes sense, obviously. You know, this is Alex's first boyfriend, not boyfriend, girlfriend, I mean. Something that Alex has, you know, always really wanted. She's spent a lot of time trying to get close to Maggie, and she should do whatever she can to try to make time for her. And I like the way that Kara is telling her to do that. But she requests that Mehcad bring her whatever Mon-El is drinking. However, Mehcad tells Kara that Mon-El has only been drinking club soda, which is Kara's drink of choice as of late. So you can definitely tell things are getting more and more complicated between these two. But luckily, the rest of the episode doesn't focus in nearly as much as the beginning seems like it's going to be. So when Mehcad goes outside, she finds John spying out on her, and John wants to protect Mehcad from the approaching White Martians, obviously because, as we know, he knows that she is kind of turning into one, and he knows that the White Martians are against her, so he has to do whatever he can to protect her, and Mehcad says they aren't on Earth yet. That, of course, means the White Martian immediately shows up to attack the pair, and the White Martian overwhelms both Mehcad and John. He flees when Supergirl flies out to help, and David Harewood did such a great job in this episode. He really portrayed the emotion going on with John here, and back at the DO, Supergirl briefly lectures Winn about Guardian, bringing up the fact he got beat up several weeks ago, so obviously she's not thrilled with him still. I like that she's kind of moved on, but she's still obviously not happy. You know, she doesn't like seeing him get hurt and things like that. But before Mehcad says she doesn't want to stay at the DO for protection, she doesn't just want to stay there. She wants to be able to take on these White Martians on her own, and I like that. It continues to show the bravery of these women and the independent sides of them, which is something the show does such a great job with. That these women do not need men to stand by them. They don't need men to save them. They can do stuff on their own, and I really did like seeing that. I think it's a very well-done message that's not overly preachy. The show does a really good job with that. And Mehcad then goes back to the bar. Her White Martian husband, Armek, shows up to bring her back to Mars, and he threatens both Supergirl and John, says she has 2 hours to turn herself in, and it's a very compelling conflict throughout the rest of this episode, because, you know, at the same time, you know, Mehcad, she's really acclimated to Earth, and she's enjoyed, you know, John, but, you know, there's also, you know, her whole life on Earth, you know, on Mars, where she's supposed to be. She's more familiar there. Things will be a little bit less chaotic, and, you know, she really is conflicted with what to do, and I really like the way the episode focused on that choice. So later that night, she tries to leave National City, but John stops her, and John convinces her to come back to the DO for her own protection, and John just doesn't want to face the fact that he's going to have to say goodbye to her at some point, and it's really heartbreaking to see. You know, you want things to go well for Mehcad and John, but you know that after, what Armek told her, that it's kind of final, that there really isn't a way for Mehcad to get out of the situation. It's very sad to see, but again, David Harewood really portrayed that desperation very well, the way he's doing whatever he can to try to keep her there, and I really did love the way that was portrayed. I thought overall that was very well done. So Maggie tries to get Alex excited for their Bare Naked Ladies concert, but Alex is worried she hurt Kara's feelings, obviously because it was Kara's birthday, it meant a lot to her, and Maggie goes to the DO to check on Supergirl, but Supergirl claims that she's okay, and John then arrives with Mehcad to help track the White Martians down. But when another Mehcad shows up, John realizes that he's actually been had, that the entire time he's being played, and John tries to apprehend the fake, but the White Martian gets the upper hand, shuts down the power, and this was an awesome scene. I love the way this was done. And by the time Winn gets the power back on, the White Martian is gone, so John puts the DO on lockdown to stop Armek from escaping, obviously because he knows that Armek could be coming for them any second, but Winn correctly points out that it could be hiding as one of them, which again is very interesting to think about. Armek can take the shape of anything, really, which is very, very compelling. I like that conflict there. It's a very thrilling and very almost scary type of conflict, the fact that any of these people could be Armek, and Winn suggests that they use personal questions to suss out Armek, but John points out that the White Martian can read minds, and what's more, John can't read anyone's minds due to some kind of psychic interference, and when everyone gets twitchy, John says that there's another way to detect a White Martian, which is fire. I guess if the White Martian doesn't react to fire, then it is in fact human, but John lights a Bunsen burner in the lab, everyone puts their hand to the fire, even John, and Winn tries to stall him. When he puts his hand to the fire, his hand turns into a White Martian, so we know that Winn is in fact a White Martian, so Winn/Armek use the burn to blow everyone back, tries to kill John, but Supergirl used her super breath and heat visions to scare him off, and the rest of the agents then recover from the attack. An alarm goes off because Armek has rigged the building's reactor to explode, which will kill everyone within a 10-block radius, which is crazy to think about, but in order to stop the reactor, John says they need to find the real Winn to override the system, obviously because if they find the real Winn will actually know how to get them out of the situation, and obviously that's something that they really need. So Alex and Supergirl search the building. They have this heart-to-heart about Kara's Earth birthday, and it's a really nice scene where Kara tells her how, she's not at all upset what Alex did, that Alex should be able to have a nice date with her girlfriend, and how, she has so many birthdays left, they can always have another birthday together, and I like the way that Kara wasn't upset. She admits that she was mad earlier, but only because she's afraid of change, and she doesn't want to be abandoned by Alex, she doesn't want Alex to replace Maggie with their relationship. And I've said it before, as much as Alex and Maggie is a great relationship, Kara and Alex, they are the forefront on this show. I mean, that is the key relation we're following, and this episode is no different. I mean, we definitely see that, Kara wants to have that bond with Alex. She wants them to be able to be great sisters, and she doesn't want anything to change that. And I like the way that even though she's happy that Alex is with Maggie, there is a doubt in her mind that maybe she might be slowly losing her, and I do like the way they showed that here. So John then pairs up with Mehcad and admits that he's actually in love with her, and I really like this scene because I feel like this is something we've been building up to all season long, that we've definitely seen that John, he said that Mehcad is his friend, but I feel like as season's gone on, he's developed these incredibly deep feelings for her, and I like that he admitted that he's in love with her, but it's really sad to see because as we know, she has only about 10 hours left to leave, and it's sad to see the one thing that John is in love with, he can't be with, and it's just really a tragic situation. So they find some White Martian slime. They discover that both Winn and Alex have been captured by the White Martians, and John wants Supergirl, but the second White Martian morphs and attacks Supergirl, so while Supergirl fights the White Martian in the reactor room, John wakes Winn and Alex up. Winn says he needs to get the reactor to shut it down, and when he arrives, Armek tackles John while Winn scrambles to shut down the reactor, and Armek then gets the upper hand on John, but Mehcad arrives to help even the odds, and I like that John couldn't put up a fight against Armek, and it's obviously because Armek is just so much more ostensibly powerful. I mean, you can just tell that Armek is a lot more advanced. He knows a lot more about the ways of, how to weaken a Martian, and I think it's because we really haven't seen John come in contact with one of his own kind, let alone the species that killed most of his family. I mean, we know that White Martians are essentially the Nazis of Mars, basically. I mean, they are Nazis in every way, because, they caused the genocide on his family and everything like that. So it's a very hard thing for John to fight, obviously. There's a lot of inner demons that he's grappling with. It's hard for him to just take them down. You can tell how strong of a threat they really are, and they did a very good job with portraying that. But Mehcad arrives to help even the odds, and Supergirl takes out her Martian while Mehcad impales Armek with a pipe. Wynn then shuts down the reactor with 12 seconds to spare. When Armek suddenly gets up, Alex walks in, shoots him in the chest with her new gun, and that was pretty badass. I love seeing Alex just kick some ass. I thought that was pretty awesome to see. And with the DEO now out of lockdown, Alex rushes off to call Maggie about their concert, and Wynn leaves to help out James, leaving Supergirl with no one to celebrate her Earth birthday with, which was very sad to see. Obviously, I really want to see Kara be able to celebrate her Earth birthday with someone, but there really wasn't anyone around. It seemed like everyone had other plans. They were just busy, and she wasn't able to really spend with anyone. But Mehcad tells John that she needs to go back to Mars to help inspire other white Martians to not be evil. She feels that she can humanize them and try to get them to be a little less savage and kind of start to be on the other side of the line, start to look at things in a good way. And she says that John inspired her to stand up and fight. But John, of course, isn't thrilled that she's leaving, but he understands why. And it's a sad moment because, we've seen so much great stuff with Mehcad and John. You want a part of her. There's a part of us that wants her to be able to stay, but we know deep down that's just not going to happen. She needs to fight for her cause. And I do like the way that, again, this was her choice. This wasn't anyone telling her to do it. This was something Mehcad wanted to do on her own. I love seeing that. John's reaction was very sad to see. I very much did feel bad for John. I don't know if we're going to see Mehcad again. I hope we do see her again. I think they definitely did leave it open where we could see her again. But this was an incredibly well-satisfying storyline. I really did love the way this was done, and really does put a great way to end John's storyline. Really did love that. So Alex then surprises Kara at her apartment with a cupcake, and we get this incredibly cute scene where Alex says she vaguely remembers Kara's conversation with the White Martian because of the psychic bond, but she promises that she's not going to abandon Kara, and Alex then suggests that she was overcompensating with her Earth birthday because she's confused about how she really feels about Mon-El, and that's really what it's all about. She's not really upset that people are forgetting her birthday. It's more that she's really struggling with her feelings for Mon-El, and she didn't want to invite Mon-El because things are just really confusing between them right now. Really things are very awkward. Things are just not that great, and basically, Kara admits that whenever she puts herself out there, it backfires, and yeah, we've seen that's very much true. I mean, look at James. They tried something, that didn't work out. Look at Wynn. He liked her. That didn't really work out. Look at even Adam, Kat's son. That didn't really work out either. He was there for like one episode, but he didn't really last that long. He wasn't able to have a stay, she wasn't able to maintain a stay relation with him, and it's really sad to see, I have to say. And that part of this arc I do like. I do like how she's starting to realize that she has very bad luck with men, and that's mainly because, the job she has, but it backfires, and Alex suggests that she give it a shot anyways. Then why not try to start something with Mon-El? Now, I don't think this was the best advice to give, but again, I don't write the show. That's just my personal opinion. But before Mehcad leaves, she tells John that she loves him too. Mehcad then transmits a way to help her to her White Martian ship, and it's a very sad moment, but it's also a very, I think, triumphant moment because she's doing it for a good cause, and John is not exactly the happiest about this, but I think he knows that she's going back because she wants to help people, and I think that definitely does lessen the damage a little bit, which I like seeing. But the next morning, the ending of this episode I thought was kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. I did find the ending to be quite annoying. I don't know why they're going this direction, but Carr runs into Mon-El at work. He heads to lunch with Kat, James' assistant, and Carr almost tells Mon-El how she feels, but he's with another girl, and she decides to walk away instead. I'm guessing to lessen the blow, but she literally just told him she didn't like him when clearly she does, so that is the way the episode ends. Let's get into this episode and what I really liked and what I didn't like. So overall, guys, while this episode was relatively, I think, a little bit predictable and also very one storyline focused, it was a very well done episode. I think it was a very good way of closing out John and Mehcad's arc. It was, an arc that we've been seeing for a long time. They've done some very good stuff with John, but I think it definitely was time to close this arc. There was only so far that it could really go, and we knew, obviously, that John was not going to die, that Mehcad was not going to die. They just were not going to do that. They wouldn't build up all this White Martian stuff for nothing, and it was very interesting to see John take on the thing that he hates most, the White Martians, and to see his vulnerability that he has. Like, he's not as powerful. He can't even take them down. I mean, he barely puts up a fight against them because they're just that powerful. He can't possibly bear to take them down. He can't even look at them in the face, really. And David Harewood did just such an incredible job with this episode. He really does lay it all out, and that's something I really do love about him as an actor. I mean, he really goes all out, and I thought he did a great job here. I really did love that. Plus, his devotion for Mehcad was very sad to see. I like seeing that he genuinely was starting to grow a connection to her, even though you could tell that it was just too late. There really wasn't anything else they could do. Unfortunately, what was done was done. She had to leave, and he really didn't have a choice, and that was definitely kind of sad to see, but I did like the way that things ended there, so that was definitely pretty well done, and I thought all that was really good. I also really liked the struggle that Alex and Kara were going through, with Alex feeling like, she's prioritizing Maggie over Kara, and yeah, I mean, to an extent she is definitely, but it makes sense. Maggie is in her life. Maggie is someone who, she wants to try something out with. She should get to spend time with Maggie, and I do like that Kara told her, look, spend time with her, you should get to, it's something that you've wanted for a while, you should enjoy this relationship, and I like that Kara wasn't, sassy about her or anything like that. I like that she actually told her straight out, look, I want you to enjoy this relationship, and I like the way that was done. And I did, of course, like the sisterhood moments between them. I think they're some of the strongest moments of the entire show. And it's very genuine. That's what I love about the sister moments. Not just because they have very good chemistry, because they definitely do, but they just feel very genuine. They feel like they really are the heart of this show, and I really did love the way this was done. But once again, guys, this episode is not all perfect, and that, of course, is because of the ridiculous Mon-El-Kara conflict. I just don't care. I don't care, honestly. Kara explained to him in the beginning that she has no feelings for him, so why, at the end, is she starting to develop feelings? I just don't understand it. I was pretty sure that Mon-El was going to be the one to have feelings for her, and she wasn't, but now it seems like it's the other way around, and I really hope they don't focus on this a ton. I want to see these two as superhero and sidekick, colleagues, friends, sister figure, brother figure, that I can do. I can't do boyfriend and girlfriend. It's weird to watch. I'm sorry, it is. I know you guys might want that version of the show. I personally don't. I don't see it working. Again, it's just like what would happen if, say, someone in Team Flash started dating. Like, imagine if Cisco, like, I know that obviously Wally's not a girl, but imagine if Wally was a girl. Just imagine that. Imagine, Kid Flash and Barry, they're going out. I mean, it's just weird. It really is weird. I mean, Batman the Killing Joke, they tried to have Batman and fucking, Barbara Gordon, hook up in that movie, and obviously that didn't work. And this is a lot less creepy than that because they're actually the same age. But again, it just doesn't work for me. It just seems very weird. It seems like the obvious direction to go in, and it seems very, very CW, and it really does go against a lot of the things that this episode's been trying to do all season. I think one of the big things this season has shown is that Kara doesn't need a man to move herself forward. Kara can get by without a man. She doesn't need anyone else in her life, and I don't know why they keep pushing for Kara to be with Mon-El. She even said herself that she doesn't need a man, so why is she so insistent on getting together with Mon-El? It's just, I don't understand it. I don't know where they're going with this. I don't really care where they're going with this, and it's the only thing right now that's really kind of pissing me off. The other stuff I really am enjoying. I think they're doing a very good job with this season. Finally, it looks like we have a villain coming in. That's been my other complaint of the season, that there really hasn't been a steady villain. I think we definitely do need a steady one. And I heard they just cast, like, the mysterious villain for the last 2 episodes, so I'm interested in seeing where they're going to go with that. But overall, guys, let me know what you guys thought of this episode. I really did enjoy this one overall. I thought this was definitely a well-done episode that very well closed out John's storyline. I really did love the way that was done. And if it hadn't been for Kara and Mon-El taking up a lot of the episode, I would have enjoyed this episode a lot more. But I am still going to give Supergirl Season 2, Episode 11, The Martian Chronicles, a 4 out of 5 or a B+. So far, guys, my review this episode of Supergirl. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode overall. Loved your thoughts in it. Did you like the way they closed out John and Mehcad's storyline? Do you think we're going to see Mehcad again? What did you think about where they're going with Kara and Mon-El? If you guys like it, I understand it. I just personally don't. I think it's dumb. I don't know why the show's going that direction, but that's my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for tonight's episode of Shadowhunters, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.